Most interviews fail before they begin because the moment the candidate walks into the room, the manager believes they are seeing something meaningful. They think they are reading confidence, professionalism, composure, and potential. They think their instincts are sharp. They think their gut has better predictive power than any structured method ever designed. The truth is that unstructured interviews create the strongest illusion of accuracy while delivering some of the weakest results ever measured in hiring science. The bold fact that anchors everything is that decades of industrial organizational research show that unstructured interviews perform barely above chance when it comes to predicting job performance. And the deeper you go into the psychology of it, the clearer it becomes that the interview is not failing because people choose poorly. It is failing because the interview format itself produces false confidence at every stage. Imagine sitting across from a candidate whose charm fills the room. You feel rapport. You feel clarity. You feel like you see their potential. This is the earliest trap. What you actually see is your own cognitive bias mirrored back at you. The early aha moment hits when you realize the unstructured interview does not reveal a candidate's ability to perform work. It reveals how effectively a candidate can perform being interviewed. That difference changes everything. People who fail in unstructured interviews are not always unqualified. People who excel in them are not always capable. The interview rewards those who can manage impressions rather than those who can manage complexity. As the conversation unfolds, you start to notice what hiring science has measured for decades. Managers ask questions that feel meaningful, but produce no usable signal. They ask about strengths and weaknesses. They ask about passion. They ask about challenges. None of these questions map to observable behaviors that predict job success. Yet managers leave the room more confident than when they entered. Confidence rises while accuracy collapses. This is one of the cleanest examples of a psychological illusion in the workplace. Every unstructured interview invites noise and inflates the importance of personality while erasing the importance of decision-making. That is why false confidence is not a side effect. It is the product. Then the tension tightens when you realize how quickly the interviewer narrative forms. Within the first 30 to 60 seconds, most interviewers make a snap judgment based on voice, posture, familiarity, or emotional comfort. The remaining conversation becomes a confirmation engine. They search for reasons to validate their first impression. They ask questions that guide the candidate toward reinforcing the story already in the manager's mind. The interview stops being an evaluation and becomes a justification. Here is the first shorts ready line. Most interviewers are not discovering the truth. They are defending their first feeling. Shift the angle and another pattern emerges. Unstructured interviews generate something behavioral scientists call narrative coherence. A good storyteller appears competent simply because the story makes emotional sense. A weak storyteller appears less capable because their communication is less polished even when their work quality is higher. The interview has no mechanism to separate performance ability from storytelling ability. The result is predictable. The storyteller gets the offer, the builder gets overlooked. And months later, the manager wonders why the natural talent they hired struggles to deliver. Another psychological twist arrives when you look at memory. Unstructured interviews rely heavily on emotional impressions. Managers leave the room remembering how the candidate made them feel, rather than what the candidate actually demonstrated. Feelings decay slowly. Evidence decays instantly. The mind keeps the glow and loses the data. This is why the illusion becomes stronger over time. The memory of a great conversation becomes the memory of a great candidate. The reality of their work never had a chance to enter the decision. Everything sharpens when you reach the hidden engine of the entire concept. Unstructured interviews do not fail because managers are biased. Unstructured interviews fail because they give bias nothing to compete against. There is no structure, no scoring, no behavioral anchors, no evidence trail. The interviewer has only impressions and instincts. Without structure, there is nothing to correct the distortions of human judgment. The problem is not the interviewer. The problem is the empty frame the interviewer must work within. Look at how companies that take hiring seriously operate, and the contrast becomes obvious. They use predefined questions tied to measurable behaviors. They evaluate reasoning patterns rather than personal stories. They anchor decisions to evidence instead of emotion. They score responses against known predictors rather than relying on intuition. This does not eliminate humanity. It eliminates noise. And the moment the noise disappears, the confidence that remains is based on something real. The closing mental model is simple and unavoidable. Unstructured interviews feel accurate because they reward familiarity and fluency. Structured interviews feel colder but reveal what actually predicts performance. The difference between the two is the difference between narrative and evidence. One feels true, one is true. If you found this valuable, consider sharing and liking the video and subscribing to the channel to support it.